Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. You heard it first. The best sports podcast there is. Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We got a great episode for you today on April 25th, 2022. But you know how I like to start off the show. I always like to get you some news or the latest updates that may be new to you or old to me or old to you and new to me. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some news. All right, so kicking it off, we got the Toronto Raptors. Scottie Barnes of the Toronto Raptors was named NBA Rookie of the Year. Scottie Barnes averaged 15 points per game and 7 rebounds this season. So congratulations to Scottie Barnes. It does hurt me to say that this man won Rookie of the Year because I wanted Cade Cunningham. But you know what? Again, congratulations to Scottie Barnes on that Rookie of the Year. Joel Embiid. He suffered a minor injury in Game 4 against the Toronto Raptors. The MRI confirmed a thumb ligament tear. However, Embiid will still be able to play in Game 5 and so on in this series if needed. However, he will undergo surgery for his thumb after the NBA season. Fred VanVleet, on the other hand, will miss Game 5 against the 76ers due to a strained hip flexor. There's no estimate for when VanVleet may return if this series goes past 5 games. Luka Doncic made his return from injury as he played in Game 4. He finished with 30 points and 10 rebounds as they took a last-second loss to the Utah Jazz 100-99. All right, man, all of these injuries, they are killing me. It reminds me of someone else who's kind of going through an injury, but then again, is this man even going through an injury? So we don't even know. But the person I'm talking about is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons. Now, I've tried to stay away from this because it's a little redundant to an extent. We know he's not going to play this season, so what's the point of going back and forth week after week, day after day about is he going to play? No, he's not. So to give some context about this Ben Simmons thing, so Game 3, a few days before Game 3, it was announced that he may make his season debut in the playoffs against the Boston Celtics to help his team finally win a game. He did not play in Game 3 at all, and he gave some false hope that he may be playing in Game 4. He did not he's not going to play in Game 4 either. It was announced a couple days ago that he's not going to be playing in Game 4 as well. Now, keep in mind, Ben Simmons has not played all season long. It was said earlier before the trade between the 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets that Ben Simmons was going through some mental health issues on top of his back injury, which was keeping him on the sideline. Now, with Adrian Woj, one of the most trusted sources in the NBA, he says Ben Simmons has been scrimmaging in a 5v5 setting and was said to be pain-free for over a week as of April 22nd. And the Nets were only looking to play him about 10 or 15 minutes. That's all. They wasn't asking him to carry KD or Kyrie to the finals. No, they just wanted 10 or 15 minutes out of him. But at this point, man, some people may say, oh, well, if he's not healthy, he shouldn't risk it at all. You don't want to tear up your body. And then you may hear the other side of that where some people say, man, to hell with all of that. You in the playoffs, you need to get on the court and hoop. We've seen so many other players do it. So Ben Simmons, if you really want to play, come play. And what I say about that is Ben Simmons is running the biggest scam that we have seen in the NBA. Ben Simmons, oh my gosh, this man deserves an award for how he's scamming the 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets. Because this is absolutely ridiculous, man. This man is give him another round of applause. Give him another one. This man is collecting checks, bonuses, and so on by sitting on the sideline all season long. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm at a point, I'm the main person. I always go for, yeah, man, you got to protect your mental health, protect your body, do what you got to do to make sure you're okay. But in this instance, nah, man, he's milking this injury to nothing less, man. Pause. But he is, man, this is absolutely crazy that he's stretching this injury out to this extent. Because if he really wanted to play, he would play. He's been scrimmaging. You said you felt better than what you felt in a long time. You would play if you really wanted to play. And let's keep it real, man. We got the best trainers in technology in the NBA for these NBA guys than we've ever had at any point in any era. So truthfully, man, if people back then can play through epidurals and all of this other stuff that they had to go through without the technology that we have today, you can play, you can stretch it out and thug it out just for a couple of games now. Come on now, Ben Simmons. And truthfully, I believe it's at a point where it's not even, he doesn't have a desire to play. To me, it's more so the psychological and the health. He doesn't have the confidence in his back, and he probably doesn't even have the confidence in his game to go out there on the floor and make his debut in the playoffs in front of Celtics fans, in front of Brooklyn Nets fans with expectations so high, truth be told, because this man ain't played all season. Y'all mad that Ben Simmons hasn't came back to give him or to help the Brooklyn Nets. Damn it, from all we know, he may come back and hurt the Brooklyn Nets. He ain't in shape. He ain't played all season. You think he gonna come back and shoot any better? Hell no. You think he gonna come back and start making free throws? No, this man will come back with the most rust that we've ever seen on any player in a very long time. And let's keep it a buck too. While we talking about it, let's keep it real. Yeah, he might have a Rookie of the Year award, but prior to his injury, Ben Simmons wasn't no killer on the court. He wasn't about to go out there and drag an offense to a win night after night. He's never been that type of guy. So let's be completely honest about it. And as far as that, I get why people can be mad that Ben Simmons is probably openly lying about an injury, but don't even take it that far of being upset, because Ben Simmons, if he played game 3, he still wouldn't help the Nets win the series. They still probably would have lost the game. And if he would have played game 4, or if he were to play game 4, it still would not make that much of a difference. Ben Simmons he's not that type of guy to come. I don't know who the hell we think Ben Simmons is, where he just come play a game and the Nets come back from 3-0. Like that's not happening at all. But as far as that, man, Ben Simmons, he just does not want to play. I truthfully think he just doesn't want to play at this point, because all the answers are there for him if he really wanted to, but for some reason he's not doing it. And again, the confidence in his body, in his back, and the lack of desire to even want to play. But we'll go ahead and we're going to take a quick break before we jump into our next topic. But to give a little heads up, we got the rundown of the Eastern and Western Conference to let you know where the whereabouts are within this first round of the NBA playoffs. And then after that, yes, the Phoenix Suns, they might be in trouble. But we'll touch on all of that as soon as we come back from our break. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, just because you're busy doesn't mean you got to be stressed. I'm crazy busy right there with you, but it can be easier. Next time you're on a run, just make it more fun and listen to The Run with Manny Wilson.
Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast.
The The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. You heard it here first. The best sports podcast there is, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Let's go ahead and run back into the news that we have for the playoffs to get the recap from all the way to the Eastern Conference, all the way to the Western Conference. So starting off with the Western Conference, the Dallas Mavericks and the Utah Jazz series is tied 2-2, and they have a chance to settle this game 5 to see who has an advantage in tonight's matchup of game 5. The Golden State Warriors lead the Denver Nuggets 3-1 in this series, and the Warriors, they will have another chance to close out the series on Wednesday night. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves are tied in their series 2-2. The Grizzlies evened up the battle in last night's game as they won 119-118. Game 5 will be played tomorrow. The Phoenix Suns and the New Orleans Pelicans have a competitive series that's tied 2-2. The Pelicans defended home court, tying the series with their recent win 118-103. Over in the Eastern Conference. Yes, moving to the Eastern Conference, we got a lot of 3-1 and 3-0 leads. But the Miami Heat, they lead the series against Atlanta 3-1. The Heat have a chance to put the Atlanta Hawks away for hibernation tomorrow night in Miami. The Milwaukee Bucks are in complete control against the Chicago Bulls, leading the series 3-1 as well. And the Bucks, they have a chance to put the Bulls away on Wednesday night. The Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets series is far less competitive than what we thought. The Celtics are leading 3-0. 3-0. Oh my goodness. And the Celtics can chop down the Nets and send them packing with a loss if they take a victory in game 4 on Wednesday night. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers are still too much for the Raptors as they lead the series 3-1. And it's very likely that the Raptors will be extinct after game 5 tonight. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, man. Now, I talked about the Phoenix Suns and the Pelicans defending home court, man. The Pelicans, they did their thing the other night in game 4. They won 118-103. But the main thing here is that people are starting to think, man, the Suns might be in trouble. The Suns might be in trouble. Because, Devin Booker is injured. The Pelicans are battling, going straight at him. And if you ask me, they are absolutely in trouble. This team here needs to get it together. Because with the healthy Devin Booker, I saw this series going no more than 5 games at the absolute most. Nothing more than 5 games. But with no Devin Booker, and Devin Booker still being out for the remainder of this series can potentially go to 7 games and end in a loss. Oh my goodness. So this changes things dramatically. And the Pelicans, they are not scrubs. They are not scrubs. And as I mentioned before, the playoffs even started. I said anyone from between rankings number 3 all the way to about 8 can beat each other. And now that, I know that the Suns weren't at number 3. They were number 1. But with that injury, that changes things drastically. They were never 30 steps ahead. They were only 10 steps ahead of all the teams in the rankings. And some of them not even 10 steps. But those teams down in 9 and 10, oh my goodness, they got something to prove. It's the same thing that's going on with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies. They got something to prove. And with the Pelicans, they've absolutely just been balling. They've been doing just that. They've been going to work. Brandon Ingram, he's been playing incredible. He scored 30 or more points in each game after the loss in game 1. He finished with 30 and 5 assists last game. CJ McCollum has been doing good, leading that team and spreading that offense out. Jose Alvarado, he's been playing great defense, being a momentum changer for the defense and being a momentum shift for his team. That changes all of that. And from what I see from the Phoenix Suns, they're still here offensively and trying to do what they can. One, Chris Paul and no other player on that team can do it by itself. Whether you want to say it's Chris Paul or Ayton, neither one of them can do it by themselves. And 2, forget all of that offense stuff. They have to play defense. These guys have to play defense. Oh my, like it's absolutely horrible. Brandon Ingram is doing literally whatever he wants on the floor. If he wants to 1v1, they're letting him do it. If he puts up a post-up move, drive middle, shoot, it's only one other person contesting him. They're letting him do it. They're not forcing the Pelicans to take any type of uncomfortable shots. And even with DeAndre Ayton, he's a great defender. And they're letting Valanciunas 1v1 him down low. And yes, he's a good defender, but someone who has a good offensive skill set is going to score regardless of how good of a defender is guarding them. That's just how it is. If you have good defense, but someone else has a better offense or a better offensive move that they can go to, then you're cooked. You're cooked. In the last game of Game 4, the Pelicans, they went on a 12-0 run in the fourth quarter. That run right there changed. That run in the fourth quarter, that was a 12-0. I believe it was a little over 6 minutes maybe, but that was the run that really won them the game because they gained all of the momentum that they needed to push through. And the energy from what I see from the Phoenix Suns on defense does not match the same energy that I see from the offense. It's stagnant on defense. They're not high energy. I don't see people pressuring the ball. I don't see people getting after it on loose balls. I see people walking the rebounds, barely jumping for the rebounds. But look at the flip side of it. The Pelicans are not doing that. The Pelicans are getting after it every chance they can. They got a guy, Jose Alvarado, who's playing full court press through the entire game. You know how difficult that is to play full court press through the entire game? It's so difficult to do. And when you have a person on your team that's doing that, playing full court press the whole game against a great point guard, Chris Paul, man, it makes you want to fight even more for your team. It makes you want to even play better for your team to help you guys get the win. But it's a game changer. The Suns, they have to get it together. This is not an easy breezy series as we once thought it might have been when they had Devin Booker. They just lost an elite scorer. Devin Booker is an elite scorer that could have helped propel this team to winning the series in 5 games, 6 at the absolute most, because I want to give credit to the Pelicans. They are playing hard, but no Devin Booker. You got to change something up, and I think the main thing they need to change up is that defense. They need to play better team defense in order to secure some of these wins and get stops in crucial moments. That's ultimately what it's going to come down to in Game 5, Game 6, and I believe Game 7. Now, when you ask me something about Game 7, I do believe that the Suns can still take this series. I personally would like to see the Suns advance to the next round, especially if Devin Booker is going to return throughout the playoffs. He's one of my favorite players to watch. However, I would not necessarily be mad if there was an upset. I'm quite fond of seeing upsets in the NBA, in the playoffs, whatever. And I've already seen one that broke my heart a little bit with the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. So, what's another one? Let's surprise us. But anyway, man, that is all we have for you today. I appreciate you hanging with me. Share this episode with a friend, a family member, a cousin, an uncle, a brother, a niece, nephew, anyone who you think might enjoy it. I mean, you had fun here today on The Run, so you might as well go ahead and let someone else have fun while you're on the run or while they may be on the run. Also, follow us on Instagram as well at The Run Podcast, and you can follow my personal Instagram as well at I am Manny Wilson, and we'll be back later on this week, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on.